Hello, Remnants. Thank you for joining me on another episode here at Remnant Rising. I'm your host, Selena Blackston. Welcome, everyone, to Remnant Rising. Thank you for joining us today on today's podcast. My name is Selena Blackston, and I am your host. And today I have a special lady. She is such a sweet friend of mine. Her name is Susie Knight, and she inspires me. I am so happy to have you here, Susie. Thank you for joining me on my podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Selena. You have been so awesome to me and such a wonderful person and a blessing in so many ways in my life. And I'm so glad that, through all the COVID and everything that we've stayed in touch
Yes.
and that we get to see each other and have some fun sometimes because COVID was not fun.
Yes. Yeah, I know. It was very hard. And, I was just so blessed to be able to have coffee with you a few weeks ago. And we were talking a little bit about doing the podcast, and we were able to kind of reflect back and share with each other what God is doing in our life. I really was so inspired, just by what I'm seeing on Facebook and on your social media. And surviving 2021, because it's like 2020, we had all that COVID stuff happen. And then it did open doors for many of us to start our own business. And you were like you were in that field where you were like working part-time, and then you were trying to find, what am I supposed to be doing? And God opened up this awesome opportunity for you. And I wanted to share with the world about how the Lord revealed to you in this personal journey and how he moved you into starting your own business. Why don't you share that with us?
I'll take you back to the year 2017. That's when my life was really changing. My dad was showing signs of Alzheimer's. At the time, I had started a new full-time job at Solace Christian Academy. I worked 12-hour shifts. I had Wednesdays off and, of course, the weekends. So, that was a plus. We would have these doctor's appointments on a Wednesday, of course. Well, that didn't always work out, the doctor's appointments, because he wasn't diagnosed completely at the time. They were just trying to get a proper diagnosis and make sure that they were going in the right direction with his treatment, because he's the man of the house. He wouldn't let her take him, to the doctor and stuff. He's like, no, I'm supposed to be driving and stuff. And at that time, he was still able to drive, but not long after that, he was not allowed to. I would ride to the doctor's appointments with him because his local doctor wasn't but maybe 3 or 4 miles. But as time, went on, he wasn't allowed to drive anymore. And that was really hard on him. It was, and
Yeah.
she was also caring for her great grandchild, which is my granddaughter, Adelie, at the time. And she was just, feeling overwhelmed because she was having to watch my dad 24/7 so much. And even though he was still functioning and, and fine, it's like you just didn't know when he would have an episode. And I got to the point where I was just crying going to work every morning. I had to be there at 6:30, and I was just literally crying because I felt like I was overwhelmed. I felt bad for my mom, still wanted to care for my granddaughter. There's so many things that was going on in my head. And
Yeah.
so I every morning, I would just keep praying to God. At night, I would pray to him. I wasn't, sleeping that well at night, and I would just, I just kept praying. And I mean, I cried literally all the way to work every morning. And once I got there, he would just help me, through the whole day. But one of my friends fed and brushed and groomed and all that stuff. And they said anytime I needed off, I could, and told her I'd pray about it. And I went home and praying about it. I did all the math and stuff. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm making the same amount. I'm just not having to drive a lot. My hours are a lot more flexible. I really didn't work that many hours a week. It was just a true blessing from God. I know He's the one that lined that up. I was
Wow.
so at peace, with it. And I had told, Salvation Christian Academy where I was, I told them what was going on, and they were very so supportive. And that made a huge difference too when you're around other believers.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yes.
does. It builds you up. It feeds you. It feeds your soul. You feed them. It's just a continuous cycle. It's absolutely wonderful. And because I've been in places where where the spirit wasn't there, and you were the only one that was representing the spirit, and
Yes.
it can drain you. It really can. And not saying that that's not where you belong. Put you there to witness to others, to even if you get to plant one little seed, it's worth it. It's so worth it. But it is important, even if you are in a job like that, that you are able to stay connected with other believers, other followers, because if it's draining you, you're going to have to be refilled. And that is one of the most important things that I have found to be.
Absolutely. Yes. I understand completely what you're saying. And my grandfather was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and I know how hard that could be and how sleepless night, having to be worried. And I cried too to see him going through that and then asking the Lord to bring you a solution. And he did. He opened these opportunities for you to be able to, and then you realized, hey, I can do this out here without having to get a full-time job out here working 9 to 5 and neglect my family.
I was not expecting anything. I had faith, and I knew that God was going to open some type of door. I didn't know what kind of door, but he did. And it was just wow. The farm that I worked at, that I helped take care of their pets, they also started asking me to house sit for them. And so that was more income, when they would leave, and just knowing that they trusted me, it made me feel, so wonderful that somebody, trusted me and trusted me with their priceless treasures, and didn't think twice about it. Because
Yeah.
even though, a lot of times we say, "Oh, I don't care what they think. I'm going to do it." In some ways, we do care what others think. We want to know that, how our character is and how we're perceived, because we want to have good character, and we want to be thought well of, not for our own ego, but for the work of Christ. We want to be trusted. I worked there for a couple of years, and everything was going great. Bills, things are going up. My pay isn't going up, but
Yeah.
there again, one of my best friends, she messaged me and she says, "Hey," she says, "my friend Jamie sells Scentsy." She says, "I do wax warmers and waxes, and they have car bar, things for your car." She says, "They have things for your bath." She has just different stuff. And she says, "I love it. And I'm telling you, you could sell me a toothpick and I'd probably buy it." And she's like, "Well," she says, she says, I'm doing this, this other stuff. And I really don't want the responsibility, of having another little, little business. She says, "Even though I wouldn't have to put much in it, I think you would like it." I kind of brushed it off. I said, "Well, those kits for a while, they were like $100, 200, just different prices." And
Mm-hmm.
she says, "No, no, 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 no." She says, "It's only like, $15 to join, $21." She says, "Something like that." She says, "It'll be under $30 for you to join, to get a simple kit and this, and that." She says, "The kit is worth more than that." She says, "I tell you what," she says, "if you don't like it," she says, "then don't sell it." She says, "But I just got this feeling." And I'm like, "Okay." So I was praying about it, and I said, even though it was just a little bit of money, I'm just like, and I love Scentsy, I love their waxes and stuff. That I don't know, I'm not a salesperson. I'm thinking I've tried to sell things in the past, and I'm just horrible because I'm not a pushy person or anything. And not saying that all salespeople are pushy. They just know how to advertise their business. They know how to put that passion into words. But when she told me, because she is a very good friend of mine. We've known each other since we were like 14, and she's a godly woman. If she's feeling that way, there's got to be more to it. You know what? I said, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I said, God, God wants me to do this. He's going to bless it. And I said, I just need to do my part. So I joined, and it was so simple. I just fill out these little, my name and address and all that stuff, sent the money, and bam, my kit arrived in like, I think 4 or 5 days. And they pay for your website for the first 3 months, which is a little,
Wow.
Yeah, it's a little over $10, but that website is, I mean, you don't have to have one, but it makes a huge difference. You can advertise more, you can put your links everywhere, it's especially as far as social media, it's easy
Hmm.
for people who aren't local, to order from you. And I said,
What were some special moments in your business from last year that really moved you and changed your life?
well, I had just started in like 2019. And
Hmm.
I wasn't getting many sales. Most of it was just, a couple of friends, family, me ordering. And I had started a group on social media, on Facebook. Little by little, people were adding others. I think I made 30 the following month. And I'm like, well, that's a little gas money. And gas prices weren't quite as bad at that time. So I'm thinking, oh, it's a tank of gas. And plus, it was helping me in a way to relieve some stress because
Yeah.
I was caring for everyone else. And this was something that I could get my mind off of things and put it, do something positive, something productive. And I think that's where my friend Jessica, that's why she had, she knew I needed something else to pull me into something to focus on something else. So I wasn't getting all burned out with everything else around me.
So
And
it
I
was
said,
really like a hobby for you or something fun that you were doing.
exactly, exactly. And I mean, my, director, she would put, I'm in her group too, and she put these things, these things, oh, if you want to do training or you want to do this and that, not, I'm like, I'm just doing this as a hobby, and then things going up and down. I said, I said, this could be a real opportunity to, to make income, but to also to meet other people. Thought about, oh, it's paying the bills, but it's making connections with others. You know,
Right.
you don't know what's going on in other people's lives. You don't know if they've been through what you've been through or going through, or if they're going through something that they need prayer, they need a connection to Christ. You just don't know. And I'm like, I said, it's not all about me. And
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah. You
you know,
you looked at it like a ministry. I mean, you
yeah,
used it as an
exactly.
opportunity to connect to others as a ministry. That's awesome.
Exactly, exactly. And I know, I said that is God, because I'm not going to come up with this stuff on my own, because
Yeah.
I know me. I'm not going to come up with it on my own. He surrounds me with people, wise, women of God, and men too. Don't get me wrong, men too. I mean, he's like he
Yeah.
those people in your path, and some days it might just be one word, or it can even be someone that I don't know that I had just met, grocery store or something, and they'll give me a little piece of wisdom, a little piece
Yeah.
of validation. I'm like, wow,
I
and
love that. I love that.
yeah, absolutely. It's he's in everything and everywhere. And the best advice as far as giving advice that I was given and that I could pass on is
Hmm.
get in there and use the resources you already have. But for
Yes, that's beautiful and great advice that,
yeah,
to give to other women about, because I know a lot of women are like, "Oh, how can I start my business? I have to work this 9 to 5 job. I can't." They feel stuck. And so, what would you say to those women that feel stuck and kind of like how you feel, but you knew that you needed to be home with your family, helping care for your father and your grandchild? What kind of advice would you give to the women that really really want this in their heart? They're wanting to take that leap of faith, but they're scared, they're nervous, or whatever, that they feel stuck. What would you say?
I know how it feels to be stuck and not, just like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do when your time is limited? And, like I said, resources limited, your time's limited because most women, when they're off work, they're not really off work. They're still taking care of family when they get home, and they have, so much going on. It's like women are like 24/7. The best advice that I could give is, even though people like on, on social media and stuff, you don't think that, they're not interacting as much as you want them to, or you feel like, oh, nobody's taking a bite of anything. Hang in there because people are watching. They might not be saying anything, but
That's so true.
they're watching. And sometimes it doesn't take a lot of time just to get it started. I would set aside a few minutes, even a night, even if you can just start 5 to 10 minutes a night. Because on my Scentsy business, I'll post things. There'll be a few days, where I don't post anything, like if I'm incredibly busy or something, but I make it a point where I do have a few minutes somewhere. Like today, I had a break. I substitute teach sometimes, and I'm glad I'm able to do that, because if it wasn't for Cincy, I wouldn't be able to say, oh yeah, I'm just going to work a half day today, or I need this day off. People are watching, just like our walk with Christ. People
Amen.
may not
Yes.
say anything, but they're watching. They're watching how we handle crisis situations. They're watching how we handle blessings, even. And
Wow.
they think about, our crisis situations like, oh, they're going to see how I handle this. Am I going to lose it? Also, see how you handle things like a blessing, like a raise or a promotion. They're watching to see how you deal with that. And that's the honest truth. But I really think that if you could just set just a few minutes for yourself to work
Mm-hmm.
on that,
Yes.
and make sure pray, about it during that few minutes also. Make sure God's in it, and just a simple prayer, Lord Jesus, please be with me as I'm working on this business. Please bless it. Show me favor, show me direction, give me wisdom. I mean, it doesn't have to be an elaborate prayer. I'm not a huge person of these elaborate words anyway. I'm like a Southern hillbilly. So it's like, but I mean, just something simple. Just make sure, that God, invite him. He's going to be there anyway, but you inviting him in, because he knows. I'm like, even when I read the Bible, I'm like, Lord, I do not know that word. I said, I know you know what that is. I said, I'm going to look it up and see what it means. I'm or, some of the names and stuff. I'm like, I do not know how to pronounce that. But I'm like, I said, you know who it is, Lord. Just, give me the meat of it. Like,
That is
know,
such good advice though, Susie. I mean, that is like perfect advice about, how you're giving everyone options of like how they can just start with prayer, start with a few minutes a day and asking the Lord for guidance and wisdom and favor even with other people, to know, or signs, wonders. He can speak through anything and anyone, can't he?
oh, he can. He definitely can. You're talking to, someone. I've been divorced twice, and I've been single, for many years, and I just he just
Yes.
believed in me, and
Absolutely. For all the single ladies that are listening today, even single mothers that are out there today, this is a testimony coming from Susie of how, she is also a single mom, a single that has started her business on a leap of faith, which is so encouraging to others right now.
absolutely, it makes a difference. And and I pay attention to other women who have their businesses. They are chock full of advice, or pointers. And it's my thing was, when I was younger, I guess I thought I was like a know-it-all. And I didn't know really anything, It's like I lacked wisdom. I might have had some knowledge in some things, but I lacked wisdom. And wisdom is a lot different than, than knowledge. Once you pray and ask God, like I had to for a teachable spirit. It's
Yes.
like, it's like, Lord, I need a teachable spirit, and he will, it builds on that, and everybody, I mean, it can just be the teeniest, tiniest thing that would make a difference. Even as far as posting on social media, people, are willing to share their experiences, and that word of mouth still works till this day. There's going to be times, where we feel like, man, we are not getting anywhere. What is going on? And I felt like that a couple of times, but I'm like, Lord, you know what? I said, I'm on, this is in your hands. I'm going to do my part. But I'm like, but I said, I can't control anybody. I can't make them do this. I can't make them see that. I can't, I said, I'm just going to need you to bless it, because, I don't know what else to do. And it was the strangest thing, which I know it was God also. That next month, all of a sudden, I got these emails saying, you have another website order. You have a website order. You have another one. You have another one. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
What?
Wow.
These people never spoke to me or anything. They never interacted with me. They were friends of friends. Of course, when they ordered, I could, message them or email and tell them, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I would send them like a Cincy Cent Circle, a little gift, or I'd have like little games, which we're probably going to play a game next week because we got some spring stuff in now since he's changed over spring and summer season, even though it's freezing cold outside. Um, we're thinking
Yeah.
spring, and so, I think it's always good to have like little promotions like that, and no one's obligated to buy or anything. I just want to do something nice for someone, and hope that they, enjoy it.
Yeah, have some
And,
fun time,
and they have it broken down of if you need, if you're looking for something that's energizing or calming or soothing, they just have it all broken down. And
Okay. Well, definitely we'll take a look at that. That's awesome. Well, before we wrap things up, how can our listeners find you, Susie? I know that you said you had a website, and I know you have a Facebook group. Share with the audience where we can find you.
all you have to do is you can Google Scentsy. That's Cents, well, Censty, Scentsy, and you can pull down the consultant, like look for consultant. And actually, I would be under, you can put Susie Knight or you can put Linda Knight. They both should come up. And you can just click on my name and it'll give you a whole list of everything that's available. You'll see the catalog, all the specials and everything. On Facebook, I'm Cincy with Susie. You can friend me under Susie Knight. And I also have an email. If you want to email me, it's SUSIE_C as in cat 74@yahoo.com. And I also have a phone number that you're welcome to use and text. I use it for business. You can text me or call me. It's 864-332-7491. Either of those ways, I've got my phone on me or computer in front of me at all times, no matter where I am. So usually I'm quick to respond.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm just so excited what God has done in your life, Susie. I love to connect with women like you that have a story and they're like, it's such a great testimony to see how God has worked through your life and in your business, and how He has supplied you with all of our needs, all of your needs. It's just amazing. And so I thank you for coming on. You are definitely a remnant rising in this hour. God is going to use you greatly for the kingdom, and I'm so grateful for you. And God bless you on this awesome. I'm going to post the links that she just messaged and her email in the description box below, so that you can go and click on there and check out all of her products and all of her amazing things. And we ask that you come and check it out, and of course support kingdom followers and entrepreneurs and those that have a heart for God and the kingdom. And thank you all for joining us today. Thank you for joining me on my podcast today. If you like what you heard, please subscribe. Also, don't forget, we'll be back on next Saturday.